everything changes.
Hey, what's up, resellers and rockstars? Welcome into the channel. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit about returns on eBay. This is specific to eBay. Normal returns, no returns, and free returns. There's a lot of back and forth and false information that spreads on the other groups. It's pretty well known inside of my group, Thrifter Reseller World. We have like 115,000 members, and almost everybody in the group knows why it's good to offer returns, or why it's good to offer free returns or no returns on certain rare items and different things. It's well talked about. If you're not a part of that group, the link's below. Please join the group. It's awesome. It's amazing. And there's some incredible people in there. We'd love to have you part of the conversation. But a lot of other groups and a lot of other places I see don't really know how returns and refunds and fighting returns versus not fighting them and everything works on eBay. So I kind of want to take you guys through a couple different scenarios and situations and policies. So hopefully this clears you up in the return, refund, fighting case. Do I accept returns? Don't I? What's the advantages? What's not the advantages? When can I decline a return? When can I not? When can I fight it? When is it worth fighting? And can I win, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just go through it step by step. I just went grocery shopping. So as soon as I get home, I will sit down in front of the camera and record all of these step by step. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, you learn from it. And if you could do me a great favor, save this link in your notes or on your computer or your phone. And anytime you see a discussion about this, if you're allowed to link a link, please link it so people understand. All right, I appreciate it. Let's jump over to my other camera. I'll be gone in a minute and we will go over these scenarios. All right, back at home, as you can see, let's talk about eBay returns. So eBay has three options, right? We've got no returns over here. We've got returns with the buyer pays. It can be either 30 or 60 day. eBay's standard is 30 days. They allow you to increase it to 60 days, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then we have free returns where the seller pays for the returns, and that is 30 or 60 days as well. So you have three options: no returns, returns with the buyer paying, or returns with the seller paying. And let's go over the pros and cons of each one, and then you guys can kind of decide what you want to do. But I'll give you the best business advice based on numbers and facts that I possibly can for everyone. This goes for small buyers, or small sellers, excuse me, and larger sellers. So those of you doing a few $100 to $1,000 or $2,000 a month, up to you guys doing, $4,000 and $5,000 and $6,000 to $10,000 a month, and those of you doing much bigger numbers. Okay, so we'll start over here with no returns. And this is an option that eBay gives and they've given forever, but I think it's almost a pointless option. If you go to Amazon as a seller, those of you that don't know, there's no such thing as no returns on Amazon. And honestly, the eBay policy is no such thing either. And this is kind of something I see mostly in Poshmark groups or from people coming over to other groups and selling that originated on Poshmark or that sell on Poshmark, because Posh has such a fierce no return policy. It's really hard to return things, even though it's gotten a little easier. People have been kind of jaded / spoiled / skewed by that no Poshmark policy, which is terrible. It's honestly a terrible policy. I get the reason they did it and the reason why they try to make it easier to bring in sellers, but they're a building platform. Remember, Amazon does 265 billion a year. eBay does 11 to 12 billion a year. And Poshmark's done like 2 billion in 7 years. So there's kind of a reason for that. That's one. It's easier on the seller than it is the buyer. You're not bringing in buyers. People get mad as a seller that eBay and Amazon cater to the buyers, but that's how you grow a platform. It doesn't help us sellers, but it is how you grow a platform. Okay, no returns. So essentially what that means is if somebody changes their mind or buys the wrong size or the wrong color, you can decline a return and they can't send it back. Not based on that. If you mail an item, and I'll take, I don't know, this GoPro case, for example, it's all I got close by. If I mail this out to a customer and this is broken, the tab on the top or whatever it is broken, and I have no returns, it doesn't mean that the customer can't actually return it. You can't sell something broken or as is and just send it off and they're not gonna be able to send it back. It still has to be as described. So if I describe this fully working or good case and it's no good, that buyer can still send this back. Your no returns means nothing. Also, if I sell a broken item, like let's say I want to sell this microphone, this little wireless microphone system. I say, hey, everything works good, except the back tab is broken, so buy it just if you want to hold it. And they buy it, but it turns out the tab is broken, but also the plug-in is broken. Well, I didn't describe that properly. And so I've now sent them an item that's not described. Yeah, it had a broken tab, that's fine. But it also had a broken microphone, which isn't fair, a plug-in. That's not fair because they bought it knowing that the tab was bad and they're like, okay, cool, I'll just hold on to it. Or I'll buy a new tab or I'll buy some Velcro and I'm good with that, I don't care. But they didn't buy it because it had a broken microphone because it's no use to them. So you can't get away with that. So the no returns is not going to cover you for selling an item not as described, whether you described it incorrectly altogether or you only described some of the damage or whatever the case. If anything is not right, it's not allowed. And that as a seller is your responsibility. No returns is only gonna cover you for not fitting, like I bought a pair of 9 shoes and it should have been a pair of 10s. Oops, my mistake, can't return them, or that sort of thing. Or don't forget also a buyer can lie. They could buy this case, it doesn't work for their GoPro and they say, wrong size. Well, it would be declined because you put no returns. But if a buyer is savvy, which a lot of them are, they can just say, oh, not as described, the case is broken. You have to take it back. eBay doesn't care. And most of the time you're gonna have to refund them. They're gonna put it back in the mail and you're gonna have to fight and prove that this was as described when it showed up, which you really can't do. It's hard. On expensive items with serial numbers, and if they try the switcheroos and all that, it's kind of a little bit better. There's outlets. There's a website called ic3.gov if somebody's committing fraud that you can file a case and submit. And a lot of times eBay will eat it, and if they refund the customer, they'll also let you keep the money, and so they eat it. But you've got those buyers as well that will lie. So if it's item not as described, your fault, or the buyer lies, you're still taking it back, and no returns does not help you. It doesn't do anything. So that's kind of where no returns are. Also, don't forget, if somebody files for a return, over half of them never end up sending it back anyways, okay? So that's no returns. Now let's go on to buyer returns, or buyer pays. This is everything. So same as item not as described with no returns, if you send something broken or not as described or whatever it is, they're still going to be able to send it back. You will pay for the label. Over here, you're gonna pay for the label. If it's item not as described anyway, you're paying for the label because you sent something that wasn't how it was supposed to be and it's your fault. You're going to pay the label. Even though you have returns accepted, buyer pays, that's only the buyer pays if they made a mistake. So if they bought the wrong shoes or they bought the wrong color or the wrong style, they can return it. It's not like item not as described where it'll get declined and then they have to lie to send it back, which some of them will do. It's they can send it back, but they have to pay to send it back, which is no big deal because they pay, they send it back, you refund them, and then you get to relist it. Yeah, you'll be out a couple bucks worth of the fees unless it's an expensive item. Just relist it and bump the price up a few dollars and you're good. It's a pain in the butt and you don't want to take returns, but returns is a part of business. And I'm going to explain to you why it's a good thing to get those returns in just a second. So the buyer is going to pay for any mistakes they make, wrong size, wrong color, wrong style, not fitting, all of that stuff. You're going to pay for item not as described. Similar over here to no returns, except a lot more returns will be accepted automatically for them to send back on their dime. If you made the mistake, you pay the label. And the same applies to if they lie about it. If you sent it good and it came in and they say it's broken and they send it back, you can fight through IC3 or through eBay and try to fight them for showing up not as described. Now, let's say they buy a brand new pair of shoes from you. They wear them to a wedding and they ding them or scuff them up or they stain a dress. And they send it back in any condition that wasn't sent. Again, you have to fight and prove it. Photos, video, whatever you can do to prove it, you can offer them a 50% discount. So they buy a $100 dress, they wear it to a wedding, they get a little stain on it, they send it back to you, and boom, now you have your dress that you have to refund them $100. No, hello, you used my dress, here's 50. Now it's still not great, but it's helpful, and you get up to $6 on the shipping label because they're gonna say, oh, item not as described, it had a stain on it, or I bought the wrong size or whatever. You can get the shipping money back if you had to pay the return shipping and 50% refund them instead of 100%. Now they can fight that as well, but if you have any kind of evidence, usually eBay will back you up. Okay, what are the pros of offering returns? Why would I offer those returns instead of just having no returns and having a chance to shut some of them down? Well, let me tell you something. Part of e-commerce is returns. People expect to be able to return things. In fact, Amazon has a box of clothing. It's called the wardrobe, Amazon Prime Wardrobe, where you can order like 6 or 8 pieces of clothes, have it all shipped to you, try it all on, box it back up, and send it back to Amazon just for fun to send it to try it on. If you like any of them, you can keep them and buy them. But literally, people are just paying those shipping costs to send stuff back and forth. It's crazy, right? And Amazon allows it. People expect this stuff. It's crazy, 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 crazy. But that's part of e-commerce. So why is that good for you? That's bad for you as a seller, right? Because you're paying all this shipping and stuff. Well, the reason that it's good is because a lot of buyers who expect returns will spend more money and do more shopping with sellers that offer returns voluntarily and not forced into returns. Let me explain it. Okay, so obviously I am an experienced buyer and seller on eBay, and I know the policies. I know that if a seller sells me this microphone and they put no returns, it doesn't mean anything. I know that I can return this, and I don't mean scam them. I mean, if anything is wrong with this, I can send this back anyways. But not every buyer, regular everyday buyer is probably a better phrase, is savvy and knows that. They may see this microphone for sale and they may go to buy it and see, oh, no returns. If anything's wrong with it, I can't send it back. They don't know any better. So what do? They immediately pass by you. They just move on because they think they can't send it back. When in reality, they can. Of course they can. If something's wrong with it, you get to send it back. That's the way it works. But they don't know that. So they went past you and you just lost a potential sale. Think about how many potential sales you would lose every month. Even a small seller losing one every other day, 15 sales at $20 is $300 that you could potentially be out hundreds or thousands of dollars a month because people that don't know are going to pass by you. Let me give you another word of advice. Me as a buyer, not from my Casey the seller or Rockstarflipper, but as a buyer, as a consumer, if I see you list this with no returns, even though I know I can buy it risk-free and send it back if there's an issue, I'm not going to buy from you. Why? Because you don't know the policies. You as a seller didn't learn the policies, or you don't have enough confidence in your product to sell it to me with a return policy voluntarily. I would have to force you into that return. And that tells me that if I have to return it, 1, I had to force you, and 2, I'm gonna have a hassle trying to get the return to go, and I'm gonna have to work and push the issue. Now, yeah, I know some people are everyday sellers who don't learn, don't have any intention, they're hobby sellers, they only sell stuff out of their bedroom or whatever's left over. I don't blame that. But at the same time, I don't do a lot of shopping for people like that. Most of the people I do business with have thousands of feedback. So that tells you right there that people that voluntarily offer return policies get exponentially more sales and better rank in the search, etc., etc. So yeah, you might invite an extra return or maybe 2 a month by turning them on versus no returns, but you're gonna sell exponentially more. How many, let's say that you are used to like 1 or 2 returns a year. You turn them on and you get 1 or 2 a month. Well, one of them's gonna show back up. Somebody's gonna lie and say it's broken, but it's gonna come back to you perfectly fine. You're gonna refund them. Maybe you'll be out a label for $6 or $7. You're gonna be out $10, right? You're gonna relist it, you'll sell it. Maybe you'll bump it up 5 or 10. Maybe you'll break even. Or maybe you're out $10 for that return hassle. You sell it again, you get your money back, and you lost $10 less than what you should have gotten. Let's say it happens twice a month, which is super rare. You're out $20, but because you turned on returns, how much more did you make? How many more sales? Did you make 1 extra sale every 3 days? 10 sales at $20 a piece? $200 more dollars? You're basically stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. You were so worried about these 1 or 2 returns that are gonna cost you $10 and $20, or maybe nothing, or maybe they never send it back and it doesn't matter. Or maybe they try to scam you and you have to give a 50% refund for 25 or 30 bucks. You're so worried about these returns and these refunds and dealing with it. It's a part of business. Are you a business person? Are you a hobby seller? Are you a pretender, right? It's business. You're gonna give up $20 or $30 and you're gonna sell an extra $200 or $300 or $400 or $1,000 this month because you turned on returns. That's the reason you do it. Buyer pays. Okay, so hopefully we've talked about the reason you should definitely have returns on. Let's move over here to free returns. What advantage, if anything, is there to free returns, and what disadvantage? Well, the only disadvantage between free returns and buyer pays returns is that if the buyer says wrong color, I just don't like it, wrong fit, you'll pay the label, as opposed to them paying the label on some. Any item not as described, you both pay the labels, it doesn't matter, okay? So that means the only thing extra that free returns can cost you is the cost of that label, $5 or $6. Again, how many extra returns are you gonna get? 1 or 2, 10 bucks, 20 bucks? Okay, let's say it ends up costing you $30 or $40 to move over to free returns because you get a couple returns every month because you're offering that free return. You're gonna get more sales, just like I described on buyer pays returns. But the other thing you get is a 10% discount if you do one-day handling and free returns. You get top rated seller plus, not just top rated seller plus, which is a 10% discount on your fees. Even if you're just selling $2,000 a month, your bill from eBay is like 200 bucks. Your bill is $20. Well, it's 200 bucks. You're gonna save $20 as 10%. 10% of your 200 bill, $20. Almost couldn't do math there. That $20 should cover the fees of the label or the label costs that you get back. We haven't even talked about how much more sales you're gonna get from having that top rated seller yellow badge, that extra search, just having returns turn on and offering them voluntarily to somebody like me and the millions of buyers that are just like me that will pass by the no return guy. All of these plus signs will equal out to hundreds of more dollars per month than the couple of dollars and pennies you're gonna spend on returns and the time. I assure you, stop stepping over dollars to pick up dimes, to pick up pennies really. Offer returns. There's no such thing as free returns or no returns in e-commerce. Even if you save yourself a few dollars on the labels that get declined, you're gonna open yourself up to return fraud and people saying, oh, can't return it. They got a no return policy. So I'm gonna lie and do not as described and force them. And then you're gonna suck up all that money you saved from declining returns in a label and a false return and a fraud and an item not described. You're gonna eat it all, even if you can fight it, maybe 50-50. Just offer the returns, offer the refunds. Trust me, it doesn't go through the roof. I sell hundreds and hundreds of items a month and we maybe take back 2 a month, maybe. And usually I get like 4 or 5 requests and 2 or 3 of them never even send it back. 50% to 70% never even send it back. And of the 2 that do send it back, 1 is just, I didn't like the jeans, they didn't fit right, I'll take the refund. So it cost me $6, $7, $8. But I sold so much more because I had top rated seller and returns on. And the other one might be, oh, you had a stain, it's item not as described. Okay, well, I was gonna pay for that label anyways, no matter what I had. I was gonna take it back and pay for it. So I might as well have the free returns on because I saved 10% on the transaction. So maybe it was a $30 thing, that was a $3 fee and I saved 30 cents that goes towards paying for it. There's so many positives to offering returns. It's what customers expect, and it's why the biggest sellers across the platform all offer returns. Most of them offer free returns, and it's why top rated seller plus you will see on those bigger accounts. I get a lot of people that say, well, I'm a small timer, I'm hobby, I don't have the ability to take those refunds. Well, if you're only selling a little bit, you're probably not gonna get all those return requests anyways. And even if you get one, your sales are going to exponentially grow by having returns, even free returns, and you'll easily be able to cover that 1 label or 2 labels or whatever it is, right? I got a guy that sells 1,000 items a week and he gets 3 or 4 returns a week, 15, 20 a month sometimes, and his sales are so much higher. His labels cost him $100, but his discount on his fees is like $300 or $400. So he doesn't care. Like, he's doing 30, 40 grand a month with a $3,000 or $4,000 bill, and he's saving $300, $400 in final value discount fees for the top rated seller. And the $100, $200 in labels he spends, he's like, whatever, my fees covered that, and my sales went through the roof. Next. So just think bigger, guys. Think bigger, think wider, think taller. Stop cutting your own throat. Stop being your own worst enemy, and you'll make more sales and you'll make more money. Hopefully this makes sense. My explanation and my breakdown will open the doors, open the light bulb above some of your heads. And I beg you guys, please save the link to this video. I can't tell you how many times on Instagram and Facebook groups and everywhere that I see people saying, no returns for me. Please send them the link to this video. Just, if you're allowed, in the group or wherever it is, comment and send them a link to this video, post it, and tell them this is why you should have returns. I don't like returns. I don't want to do returns. But if it's a positive to my bottom line, I'm gonna do it. Everyone accepts returns. Drive Time with Dave, my friend, a lot of you guys know him, 15 million in sales, takes thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in returns every month. 100, 200, 300 grand in return credits every year. Imagine that. But you know why he does it? Because those customers come back, they shop with him, they shopped with him in the first place. Maybe they'll become a return customer, not so much on eBay, but they shopped with him because they know he has a no hassle policy. Just something to think about, guys. All right, I'll leave you with that. I appreciate you watching as always. Thank you so much. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed for more information and updates and bolos and links and everything. If you're looking behind me, we do have over 100 boxes for sale. They're reseller boxes. They're manifested. They're clothing, they're shoes, they're hard goods. I'll link it below. Go check it out. Buy yourself a box. If you have inventory you want to sell through us, rockstarflipper@gmail.com. Email me. I'll give you all the instructions. We boxed up a ton of boxes, more over there. So there's probably 25 new boxes up today. There'll be more up tomorrow. And go check it out. Pick up a box. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.